Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this extraordinary edition of the Leadership Show. My name is Sumi Chukwunyere. I am the Executive Director of the Ugwumba Center for Leadership Development in Africa. With me in the studio are my boss, is Ugwumba Uche Nwosu, the President of the Ugwumba Center for Leadership Development in Africa. I have Mr. Raja Nazran, our Advisory Board Chairman and the CEO of Nazran Rods in the UK. We also have Chief Chris Foss. Chief Chris Foss, our advisor and managing director of Responsible Solutions Limited at the Silicon Valley, USA. So they are here to analyze the impacts that we are unveiling today and to chart ways for a better African society. Ladies and gentlemen, we are happy that to join the unveiling of the documentary video showing the impact of the center was founded in 2019 by His Excellency Ugwumba Uche Nwosu, a new generation of leaders and entrepreneurs of Africa. To be able to deliver on this mandate, the center adopted leadership development, entrepreneurship development, and community development is focal areas. Inception in 2018, the center has made tremendous impacts in areas of expertise as one of the most active youth and women development centers in Nigeria and large. Beyond supporting over 5,000 small and medium enterprises across Nigeria and serving a community of over 10,000 youth in Africa, we have made impact. Do you remember our Nigeria, the leadership that has featured global leaders, including a former head of state from the Republic of who who were invited to sit with members of the Ugwumba community. So much to talk about. I'm sure that. So please, I want you to relax, watch, and learn from global leaders we have selected from around the world. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I want to make this important event and listen. We have fantastic this afternoon. So if you stick screen and watch us to the end and also participate actively, you are sure going to be one of the winners of these fantastic giveaways. Ladies and gentlemen, for joining this noon. Very good. So, like I see His Excellency Ugwumba Uche Nwosu, I have International Advisory Council, Radzran, all the way. And the team again is Chief Chris Ford. Is a wonderful person which is making way on the way. So we are privileged to have them this afternoon. To join us is Professor Remy Duyel, one of the Vice President. She comes on. I'm going to invite her to also join us. Allow to tell us briefly, tell us briefly your background and your role at the Ugwumba Center.
Rajan, who has been very helpful. Rajan, I want to welcome you again. Let me thank my good friend and the other two from another, from Mr. Chris. You are welcome to this platform. Thank you, my DG, you in organizing this and bringing us together so that we can also share with what we have been doing and our achievements so far in this leadership center. Yes, my role and my background in leadership center. I am just having you people as the engine that propel center. I simply have the role of facilitating and making sure that keeps get moving, trying to make sure that people who is downtrodden, the young people in Africa, um, mostly in Nigeria, the streets, and giving them an opportunity to excel in life and raise their psyche and their mind on what is not them in life. So it's just my simple role in this center is to facilitate and make sure that I bring smiles in the faces of women and in the faces of young people. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Raja, can you tell us briefly your background and the center?
Absolutely. Well, it's
To you.
it's a deep pleasure to be here amongst my dear friends and family. My role is as a chairman for the IAC, which is the International Advisory Council for the Leadership Center, is really to be the international voice and face to ensure that the center not only is operating in Nigeria, but building up respectable and reliable partnerships globally. It's been a fantastic role to be in because not only is the center doing sterling work, especially when you have a look at the rising unemployment levels happening in Nigeria, as well as what the IMF is describing as one of the largest humanitarian issues when it comes to unemployment across Africa, which is throughout the globe. So what the center essentially does is not only changing the face of Africa, but also spearheading the levels of progress on the global parameters. My role in its significant portion is to work alongside the incredible individuals like Chris and other members that are part of Advisory Council to make sure that we're actively going out there to support not just Nigeria, but also global development as well. I'm also very lucky to have my dear friend Uche, not only as a brother, but also as an ambassador for the Global Indian Series, where he joins over 27 other ambassadors around the world, including heads of states, ministers, entrepreneurs, and industrial leaders. So unitedly, we all support the same vision of making sure that there is human progress from there.
Very good. Fantastic. Prof, you're welcome once again. I want to welcome especially Professor Remy Biel. She's my namesake. I'm happy about that. She's yes, she's former Vice President Bank of America. She accepted to serve this center as one of its International Advisory Council members. We are so proud of her and we're happy to have her this afternoon. Prof, you can just say hello to the fans and the people in Africa watching you.
Sure. First, I want to congratulate this great center. I have watched from afar and closely what you're doing. As we all know, our youth in Africa are very vibrant, and over 70% of our population is youthful. So what you have set up, sirs, and for the leadership is amazing. I am so thankful for how you're touching the lives of people, and I'm humbled and honored as a professor who knows the power of education, who knows the power of inspiration, and as a former corporate individual. I am so thankful that I'm part of this advisory group and that we have so many resources, especially as a diasporan here in America, that we would leverage to ensure that the vision that you have set, that we all imbibe and make it greater. Again, I cannot thank you enough. Our youth are very smart people, and to have leaders like you who care. And DG Remy, you are amazing, because when you have leadership that truly loves what they do, he didn't pay me to say this because it's my namesake, but I have to say, a dedicated leader who loves people, who knows the power of leadership. I want to commend you and the vision, sir, what you're doing. I am excited to be part of it, and we'll be even more involved. Legacy Premier Foundation will do more, and we will see how to leverage our university that I teach to see how can we connect. And I know my namesake will follow up and we will make this happen. Thank you so much for adding me to this impressive group of people, and success all the way.
Fantastic. I'm great to you there, to start a discussion about partners, you think that going to change, the see of what we are doing here in Africa. So let me invite this advisor to speak on talking about the institute as well as the response solutions to the USA. Mr. Chris Fox will talk to us and your brand center. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Remy. It's very hard to follow our wonderful professor and her great words of encouragement and inspiration. My name is Chris Foltz. I'm one of the global entrepreneurs in residence for Founder Institute. Founder Institute's the largest pre-seed accelerator in the world. Through that role, I work with entrepreneurs and startups on 6 continents. And I can tell you that the level of inspiration that I have coming from the Ugwumba Leadership Center is second to none. It truly is. And I got involved because I was inspired. You see, what I saw was real action. In America, we often like to think we solve every problem. But you see, when you actually see what happens on the other side, real solutions that are created from communities, I've never seen anything like the communities that I've seen in Africa banding together. And that's exactly what this leadership center has done. It's taken a sense of community, brought it into the entrepreneurship world, solves real world gaps and hurdles for those that want real opportunities and deserve it because they work for it. And for that, every single day, people ask me, hey, Chris, what motivates you? My colleague Remy said, what time is it? It's like 6 a.m. here, but I don't care if it was 2 a.m, I'd be here 3 a.m. It does not matter to me because you see, it's not motivation that I seek. I'm self-motivating. It's inspiration. And it's leadership centers like this, my brothers and sisters in leadership, the team at the International Advisory Council, all of us combined, our fearless leader that actually look at real problems and, more importantly, discover real solutions. So I'm truly inspired. I'm excited for the upcoming challenge. The entire year that is upcoming is going to be remarkable because this organization does things for the right reasons, so they'll never end for the wrong ones. So I'm honored to be here, Remy. And again, my day job at Responsible Solution pales in comparison to the passion that I have for the work that I do with organizations like this. So I look forward to continuing that on. And thank you so much for having me all the way here from America, the land of opportunity. But I promise you, Africa is the land of opportunity. And 2030s are the years, and this organization is preparing people to lead during that next decade.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, to have you, in the board of the advisory council. That's really said. Give prizes for those that are actively. So there's a comment section where you can drop your comments and how you feel my boss here that will answer your questions. And then at this job, I want us to watch the official unveiling of the video is about to start right now. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to watch and listen and enjoy yourself. Thank you so much.
Youth unemployment has become biggest challenge facing every country in the world, including Nigeria. By 2035, the Asian Monetary Fund (IMF) estimates that the number of Africans joining the working age population will exceed the combined. To fill this surge, IMF projected that 18 million new jobs will have to be created each year for the next 20 years across the African continent. The current population is over 212 million, making it the most populated country in Africa. The median age in Nigeria is 18.4 years, and about 43.5% of the population are between 0 to 14 years. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, the rate of youth unemployment in Nigeria increased to 53.40% in the fourth quarter of 2020. With the continuous increases in population and unemployment rates, the need for a system that will encourage young people to create jobs for themselves and others using skills, passions, and ideas cannot be overemphasized. Therefore, in response to the above negative trends, a young Nigerian, Mr. Uche Nwosu, founded the Ugwumba Center for Leadership Development in Africa in 2018 with a mission to raise a new generation of leaders and entrepreneurs for Africa.
Leadership Center actually is where we train people. You give somebody 500,000 to start a small business, and the person have the idea of that business. It makes no sense giving the person money, because the person will land up in a one beer parlor where he will take Nkwambi or suya, and the money will end. So what is money? We train you in the leadership center and make you useful, and the money be used to you. Again, the leadership center also is where we train upcoming leaders.
Others, a major plank and factor that has oiled the wheel of the progress and development of the Leadership Center is the inclusion of great and passionate and share the vision, mission, and compassion of the initiator. Since inception in 2010, the Center has continued to design and implement programs and activities in three major important focal areas, namely leadership development, enterprise development, community development. Some of the signature programs of the center so far include 1. Ugwumba Enterprise Challenge, which is an annual idea, pitching and grant competition designed to empower youth and women in between 18 and 30 years of age, turn skills, ideas, and passions into scalable business.
I was able to fabricate a device locally which operates when you are using your generator, so that power is being restored. So you don't need to go to your powerhouse to change the middle restore light. It will give the generator and it will shut down the gen. It will change over by NEPA automatically. And on the other hand, when NEPA light is being taken, it starts the generator, and after starting the generator, it changes to generator. That's the changeover.
You can't build a country without just young people. And the enterprising skills young people, for me, that was very interesting. So to get opportunity to compete for some figures and improve their approach is something that I really appreciate.
The center has supported about 10,000 innovative startups and MSEs across 36 states in Nigeria, plus
Okay. Let's finish. Okay.
People who are supposed to, take over the space and also
Let's stop.
and then why we have unemployment situation so high is because the young people who are supposed to, take over the space and also create jobs for themselves, they are not being empowered. So we work with young people between 18 and 30 years, and then we try leadership and enterprise development skills they need to succeed either as leaders in their chosen careers or as entrepreneurs, whereby they begin to turn their ideas, their passions into business ventures, begin to employ other.
Well, it's a very good addition to the well-being of our community, of our citizens of this country, and because it's an activity that comprises not only within the country but across sub-Saharan Africa. So this is a very welcome development. I would like to appreciate Chief Nwosu for this wonderful achievement.
The second is the Ugwumba Women Development Academy, which is a program designed to equip women professionals, business women, career women, etc., with both leadership and enterprise development skills they need to do better in their chosen careers. Today, the Academy has networked with structures in the 6 geopolitical zones and in the 36 states of Nigeria, plus the Federal Capital Territory.
There is a quick case of Blikisu. Blikisu is a young woman, married. She read architecture in her school, and upon her graduation, it became difficult. And from the north, and during the presentation, we find out that this young girl can use condemned tiles to make what we call table chairs. Her ideas was very nice to the judges, and I saw that this lady has something upstairs. This young lady called Blikisu was invited by a school, a university in United States. She taught the students on how they can use these condemned materials to create something. You can imagine somebody who before now does not have what to do or how to present her idea to the world is now the person that is lecturing over 500 students in a university in US. The same lady now exports her material to United States.
I feel absolutely excited. I feel it feels surreal. I feel like I'm in a dream, but then it's actually happening in reality. So with all the effort that we've put in, people that really appreciate creative projects and what we do, have seen value in what we do, and I just feel absolutely honored to Honorable Ugwumba himself, to Mr. Remy, to every of the partners. I thank you.
The third is the Leadership Show, a highly interactive and educative online talk show that features global leaders and life coaches from across the world who are invited to share their experiences and discuss important development issues that benefit the audience made up of youths and women around the world. The show is broadcast live on all social media platforms including Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, among others. And the fourth is the Rebrand Nigeria campaign, which is a program designed to change the ugly negative perceptions about Nigerians outside the country. The center does this by aggressively showcasing the remarkable achievements of Nigerians, both home and in diaspora, who are contributing immensely to national and global developments across the world. Over the years, programs of the center have received endorsements and supports.
I expect to have emerging millionaires. I pray each of them should be able to yield results. That tomorrow, if Ugwumba sits down, someone will say, it is the Uche Nwosu who gave me a starter pack in Benue Hall in ICC Abuja some years back, and today I have this part of what you get to me to start up a business.
Several organizations, including government agencies and foreign missions, such as USAID Nigeria, Swedish Embassy, Central Bank of Nigeria, Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, Department of State Services, Abuja Enterprise Agency, Sir Ahmadu Bello Memorial Foundation, Power in USA, Nasran Roth, UK, Big Ventures in the United Kingdom, African Youth Development Foundations, Ambassador of Trinidad and Tobago, Irish Embassy, and the Rogers Foundation.
Young men, you want to be too proud of becoming a barber. If your passion is for cutting hair, go, you will excel in cutting people's hair. If your passion is in sweeping, you will need to sweeping. But the problem with young men nowadays is that they want to behave in such a manner like someone else who have excelled in his own field without minding what is their passion, because they are ashamed of the talent God has given to them.
In the coming years, the Ugwumba Center for Leadership Development in Africa shall empower more youths and women across the African continent with the leadership and enterprise development skills they need to create for themselves and start contributing to the GDP of the continent. This our scope is Africa.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the studio. I'm sure we were not disrupted by that few minutes of technical hitch. I'm sorry about that. Is Nigerian network? So sorry about that. So sorry about that. Okay, so Prof is gone. Prof took excuse. She has a class at about, and so she had to leave. I wanted to start the questions with her, but let me start with Chris. Mr. Chris, you have seen the achievements that we have just unveiled. So, how do you feel? Are you satisfied with these achievements that we have recorded so far?
You know, I'll be honest. You know, I think that I come from politics in America, right? And we like to talk about all the things that we do, and it's easy to put up a video. It's easy to put up marketing and make things look good. But you see, what this documentary represents is the reality of this organization. It's on the ground. It's touching lives. It's not just theory. It's in practice. And I think that with that, I'm honored to even get the opportunity to watch it. It's one of those things that I know everything about it is real, but it's representative of the future. And there's going to be more and more of this. What I'm excited about, Remy, is the documentary 5 years from now, because I'm so confident that some of the people that we've even seen in this documentary today are going to be leading industries, leading sectors, and perhaps leading entire governments 5 years from now, due to their involvement with this. So thank you so much. I think it was a wonderful presentation, and I look forward to sharing it with all my colleagues in America, and I think it will inspire many people.
Very good. Fantastic. I'm so happy about that. Thank you so much for that feedback. Mr. Chairman, Rajan Nazran, so can we hear from you what you have to say about the achievements we have made in those time that we started?
No, thank you for having me on, Remy. I think first and foremost, to echo what Chris is saying, it's a great testimony to say this is exactly what's happened, the practical embodiments. To say, are we satisfied? I don't think we are, if we're brutally honest. And the reason why is because what we recognize as a center is that there's overwhelming issues taking place in Africa. The reason why the center was born, because of the great work that Uche has been doing, is to correct many of the wrongs that people are going through. If we're seeing the rise of over 53.4% unemployment, you can imagine what that looks like in the next 5 years. And it's something that was echoed in by Senator Rochester at the end, is about delivering a promise whereby people of Nigeria and across Africa can benefit by utilizing their passions and therefore creating employment. And if we are going to hit the 18.4 years in which we have to create over 18 million jobs a year, it means we're going to have to be moving a lot quicker. So all in all, what's been achieved so far has been a remarkable benchmark. It has far surpassed any other organization, not just in Nigeria, but in the whole of Africa. But are we satisfied? I dare say, not putting my words in Honorable Uche's mouth, I don't think we are. I think there's a lot more work to be done. There's a lot more partnerships to be forged, and there's a lot more lives to be helped and empowered within Nigeria in order for us to know that we've done the job well and we helped rescue future generations from what may be endless poverty.
Fantastic. Let me also take you on again. I remember each time I try to be moderate, with the achievements. When I say we have impacted on the lives of 10,000 people, you always tell me, Remy, no, it's more than 20,000. So can you tell us why you think we have impacted on the lives of over 20,000 young people in Africa instead of 10,000?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was actually having lunch with Honorable Joyce Banda, the former president of Malawi, a couple of days ago, and I was telling her about actually what the center's been achieving. And she agreed with me with the statistics. For every one person who is employed that has a job, it impacts the lives of over 2 to 3 individuals just by a bare minimum. Now, what the center's done beyond anything else is created livelihoods for over 10,000 individuals. So when I turn around and say, well, Remy, we've worked with over 20,000, I'm being incredibly modest. The reality is we've actually impacted the lives of over 30,000 individuals in Nigeria, because for every one person who has been empowered, that has received real world-class information on how to run a business, they're starting to employ 1, 2, 3 individuals, and everything else is a multiple by that. And that's why I'm very proud to say, as a center, we've helped thousands of people. It's not just been 10,000, not 20,000, but the figures are far more. But obviously the Brit in me is always very moderate in the way that I look at figures. And that's why I come up with a world of 20,000, which is nothing compared to what's been touched so far. I think if we go further afield, we look at multiple generations that have been impacted by the work, right the way across Nigeria. And what I see as the future of the center, not just being a Nigerian organization, but also a Pan-African organization. We're already building up rapport with governments out there that we can go more into detail with. I estimate within the next 5 years of solid work and making sure the right partnerships will be impacting over 1 million individuals across the whole of Africa. It sounds like a huge figure, but when you break it down with the support that we're getting from across the different nations, it's something that's achievable. And I say it with a lot of pride in my heart, is because of the work of people like Uche, Ugwumba, my dear brother, who I've known for many a decade, when I had more hair up there and less hair down here, is because of his vision of the way that he sees the whole of Africa operating. that's why we're taking these collective steps there.
Very good. Fantastic. Fantastic. So, Your Excellency, let me bring you on the show. I mean, on the limelight and the President of Ugwumba Leadership Development in Africa. And here we just held, between 20 and 2021. So, I want to ask you, are you satisfied with this achievement?
Let me borrow from my friends and Chris and Rajan. Yes, we have done quite a lot, but I am not fully satisfied because my target is to get to million youths and women in Africa. Yes, we have done our little bit on a period of time. We have embarked on this, but we need to do more. Means that we have to reach out and we have to do what we call advocacy and then get more young people to benefit from this. Can only be done by our advocacy outside and reaching out to people outside. We want to thank God that we have done the little we can within the few years we started. We're doing this because of what we went through. I said it to my God, my Creator. I said, if you bless me, I'm going to bless as millions that I can, because I went through the hard time in life. It was difficult to have something to eat, to have 3 meals, to go to school. But finally, I went to school. So what I am doing and what we are doing, as many as we can, because we can pass through this world but once. So if there is anything in humanity to save lives and to change lives, this is the right time to do it. I want to take from my brother Rajan, the chairman of the advisory board, and my brother Chris. Okay, but we have not done well. We need to do more. We want to count millions. We want to move that we're able to impact in millions and millions of lives across Africa, and even in countries where we also have the same related issue in some of these Caribbean islands. So we have done okay, but we have not done you.
Aha. Okay. So let's go to the issue of how to scale up these. Everyone is talking about the future and projecting that more people will need to get involved. So let me start with Raj. So how do we scale up the impact? To reach more people in Africa. Mr. Rajan, over to you.
I think is on partnerships. We've been very lucky, and we've really been active out there. Many people don't see what's happening on the inside of the center. We've had meetings with heads of states from across the globe. I was in Uganda only a little while back, where I got the chance to sit down with President Museveni. And again, it's having a look at saying, well, what can we do on a Pan-Africanist approach? Because it's all well and good that we sit there and we say, these are the key issues that are facing us all. And the reality is, Remy, is what Uche mentioned. We are, if it wasn't for the center, if it's not for the work that we're doing, we are on the precipice of a global disaster. We're living in a world where people are talking about nuclear weapons. We're living in a world where there's increased unemployment levels, where there's abject poverty, where there's inequality, where kids are born and their grandparents are scared about the futures that those generations will go through. Let us not forget, this is a globe in which we live. And so therefore, in order for us to continue our remit of serving people without fear or favor and supporting the lives of not just our own, but of every generation to come, we need partnerships. We need to be working alongside other governments to help them not only see our vision, but also work in line with their national development plans to ensure that every child has a benefit, that no child goes hungry, and that unemployment is a thing of the past. And therefore, gainful employment is done on the passions of society rather than just statistics. So one, I see making sure that we have real partnerships with governments out there. And as His Excellency Uche mentioned, not just within Africa, but also globally, working with our partners in the Caribbean, where we've already had real conversations with the heads of states there, ministers there. And I know as a center, we'll be going over there physically to sit down with many of these people. The second thing I see is that we're having partnerships with companies in Nigeria. I like to see those companies who turn around and say CSR, corporate social responsibility, companies that are turning around and saying we support Nigeria's progression. Well, I want to see them partnering up with the center, because we are the only avenue that physically gets out there on the grassroots and touches the lives of thousands of people. So I want to see our partnerships grow within the business sector. So we got governments, we got business, and the third one, where I see our growth, is actually working hand in hand with the diaspora of people of African origin right the way across the globe. So therefore, we can build up our own portfolios of funds, and we can utilize those funds as part of the center and invest even more heavily within social-based businesses. So not only do we do this big event that's taking place this year, but we get to scale that up and do it in other countries around the globe at the same time as well. So that is what the vision is from His Excellency Uche, to say this is how we grow. And this is where I see the board being a very pivotal mark of that, whereby we become the bridge of businesses, of governments, and the social sector in making sure that we really do deliver. We have great speeches that take place across the globe, as Chris was mentioning, but this is the only organization that takes those speeches and turns into practical output and action. Therefore, we have to be the parameter of success. And all real businesses that want to see a difference in Africa, not just speaking about it, but want to really practically showcase it, well, we're the only partners that they can partner with, because we've proven that we can make it work.
Very good. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, Chris, over to you. How can we scale up this to benefit more people across Africa?
I think Rajan said it so perfect. And, I come from the world of marketing. I spent most of my career working in politics. And, with the programs that are in place at the Leadership Center, I mean, they're pretty amazing. I think one of the challenges is, they're so upstream. Even looking at rebranding Nigeria, some of the challenges that stand before entrepreneurship, that stand before global leaders, look at Nigeria and Africa as a whole from a different perspective. So what I'm really interested in is taking everything Rajan just said and putting it into a master initiative with our sight set on 2030 and working backwards from there. Africa 2030, where we're really highlighting that entrepreneurship, which is being built right here in the center in Nigeria, but there's no question that the arms and reach of the impact travel far beyond the country lines, far beyond the continents lines, and around the world. And how do we tie everyone together who cares about the same things that this leadership organization does? And trust me, there are a lot of them. Even in America, I did my fellowship at the Institute for Real Growth, and it was a remarkable experience with the top 100 CMOs and change agents in the world, companies like Unilever, Ford, Nissan, Facebook, Google. They were all part of this, and Chris Foltz from the middle of the desert. But you see, what I learned in there was what's being talked about in those big rooms. And as Rajan drew attention to, corporate social responsibility has been a common conversation, but the new language that is being talked about for it from the United Nations is Sustainable Development Goals on one side, and then ESG, environment, social, and governance. And when you're looking at barometers like this, when investors and sponsors and leaders of nation are looking for metrics to analyze how business is impacting regions, they're looking at ESG scores. So for us to align our missions, which are so fantastic, through a global initiative targeting Africa for the 2030s and partnering up with some of these large institutes that believe in the humanized growth, that believe in entrepreneurship, that believe in a pathway from the streets to the boardrooms on the terms of the founders and entrepreneurs, the way that they want to, because we know they'll bring it back to the community. That's something I want to be part of. And this is the organization that can do it, because it's not a lot of lip service. It's real action, real results, real lives changed. And by simply drawing attention to the global standard at the global level, I think it may change the dynamic for other organizations when they think about what they're doing to actually make an impact in Africa. this is a model organization to look at. So I'm committed to that, Rajan, to get the goals of His Excellency Remy, our entire team, across the forefront, because I think now is the time to shine for Africa on the global stage. And this is the organization that can make that happen.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Your Excellency, let me come back to you. You are the vision of this wonderful organization, Ugwumba Center for Leadership Development in Africa. So let me ask you, what do you face, the challenges that you are facing? Your Excellency, this question is you.
Yes. To the challenges that we're facing in the center, let me quickly commend the advisory, the chairman of the advisory board, my brother Jan, has transversed almost all the in Uganda. What I do in Uganda is that I'm the chairman of the advisory board is doing, and my brother Chris also, who from him, it is not lip service. You know, most of these foundations and most are just briefcase NGO. You only see the person with his briefcase. There is no address, nothing to show. Their own is just to go to donors and collect money in the thin air. But this center remains one of the centers that have young men, young women across Africa. And when we have people who have integrity and people who have the technical know-how to assist us both in their advices and also reaching out across the globe. That's talking about the man that is a charity, our great partner, Mr. Chris. But let me come to what you have said. You said, what are the challenges? Yes, the challenges are so many. The challenge getting to reach to those young people and then meeting up with their needs. Their needs are just two. When you talk about young people, what are their needs? Two. One, educating them. Once somebody is educated, you do not give them more life. They said, give a young child an education and your wings to fly. So once you're educated, once you know what to do, once you know how to invest, make money, you don't need any cash again. It's just for you to use your knowledge and make money. One is for those who are not educated and for those who are educated and they can do. Sometimes, even in the developed world, you assist finances for them to grow up in life while monitoring them and making sure that little money you give to them, they can be able to use it judiciously. They don't go and go to party and buy clothes and shoes with that money. What we have is one, making sure that having the challenge young people acquire more education. When I say acquiring more education, we have the inner power who have been able to have given more than 50 of these young people a master's certificate. Now, let me tell you, there are 50 young Nigerians that got this master's certificate from a university in the US. 30% of them have gone into what they learned from that university. And I know some of them who said that knowledge we got, this is what I'm doing now. This is what partners and our partners to come in, that some of these young people can have the knowledge going to go to US or go to European country or to Western world to be there to learn this education. In sponsoring some of these young people to acquire more knowledge, apart from what they have, lastly, use this knowledge to impact in whatever they are doing in life. You can be a business, but how do you manage the resources? And how do you manage the finances? Some business does not know how to manage their finances, and at the end, the businesses crashes. So we need this, and we need the help of some of our partners. I'm happy that Rajan is here. I'm happy that Chris is for these are our people to help us get to more these young people get and acquire more knowledge, either through certificate courses, so that we can be happy to say that we have not only given cash to them, but we have made them to acquire to be able to improve in their life. That is number one. Number two is that we have a mission, like you said. We have met with some embassies. We have met with so many Africa and in the world. But when it comes to issue of financing, of what normally happens with some of these NGOs, I earlier said are briefcase NGOs, when they go for in an aspect of fund or any other thing, they get this fund and they disappear into the team. What we ask is that these young people and to the table of our partners for them to be able to help them in financial aid, not giving it to the center to put in their purse. We can be able to have helped as many as we can. We had one who was amazed that the stories she has had, whatever you put, one person is the money, and the money goes, and then they're bringing it to some countries like Nigeria and some other countries. And I said, look, person that has done in Africa or in the country, in Nigeria, cannot everybody in Nigeria is corrupt. We are not corrupt. We are just Africans trying to make sure that the society is better for all of us. So, as the president of this center, one of the greatest challenge that I want us to we get into it is having the financial aid to be as many as we can in Africa. We are not ending in Nigeria. We're ending Africa and getting towards some of these Caribbean countries, because depend in only empowering and getting people in Africa alone, because a poor man or a youth or a young who cannot feed him or herself 3 times in a day in Papua New Guinea or in Equatorial, in any country in the Indian island, is the same problem that the same youth is facing in South Africa, in Egypt, and even in Nigeria. So the story is this. My own challenge is that we should be able to reach out to as many donors as we can, our young people.
Okay, that's amazing. That's amazing. So we need more partners to come on board and support this vision of raising a new generation of entrepreneurs for Africa. That's fantastic. From the president of the Ugwumba Center for Leadership in Africa. Thank you so much, sir, for that wonderful comment and sharing the challenges that you face, at the moment. We have this is about 56 minutes. We've been talking and discussing the impacts of the Ugwumba Center for Leadership Development in Africa, and I want to go to the 2022 Ugwumba Enterprise Challenge. The 2022 Ugwumba Enterprise Challenge. This is the job creation program, developed by the center to be able to take more young people out. This is the major signature program of Ugwumba Center for Leadership Development in Africa. This fifth edition, which is happening this year, is already on. So I want to ask Your Excellency, what are we expecting? Before that, let me go to the chairman of the International Advisory Board to tell what to expect, in this year's edition. This fifth, bring Accra together, to challenge themselves and win our startup grants. So, Mr. Rajan, what are we expecting this year? Thank you.
I think in want for better words is going to be the most positive display of fireworks we will ever see in the history of Nigeria. And the reason why, everybody's grown up watching Dragon's Den or Shark Tank, where people come in front of investors and they get to pitch and hopefully their dreams come true or they get their 15 minutes of fame on TV. I don't know any other competition in the globe that exists whereby, one, we don't ask for equity, two, we give you the money freely without any restrictions on there, and three, you actually get support to build and scale your business up. I think if I were advising from an outside perspective, I'll be saying, Uche, you must be absolutely mad to be doing this. And so therefore, for other people, when they're looking at this, this is the biggest opportunity Nigerian youth will ever have to not only display what the best that Nigeria has to offer, but also to make themselves proud and the country proud. Because let's face it, with a population of 212 million people, it's very rare that you have the opportunity to go up there with your peers to pitch for money that has no restrictions on there. So what I expect to see this year, one, we've already got big investors coming over. I know there's a team coming from Uganda that's going to be coming over to invest. We've already got statements coming from different state houses across Africa where they want to send representatives in there to see exactly what we're doing and how they can work with us. So one, I'll see some amazing individuals coming towards Nigeria. Secondly, I'm looking forward to seeing incredible pitches on the screens, so therefore people can learn how you get business done away from the televisions, but what practically makes things happen. Three, I'm looking to see great mentorship, amazing mentors coming from across the globe, coming in to support these companies, not only once they win the grants, but to help them scale up. And do you know what I'm really looking forward to the most? It's the world seeing that Nigeria is not about scam call centers or emails or about corruption, but for the world to see finally what Nigerians see in themselves, which are people that have passion, people that want to achieve something, and that they have the economic and mental success to make it happen. And that's the other part that I'm looking forward to, that we start changing the brand of Nigeria by Nigerians going up on stage and showcasing the beauty of what this country has to offer.
Very good, very good. So, Mr. Chris, can I bring you, over to you? What are we expecting from your end?
Well, I'm really excited. I'm going to be.
Sorry. This is your first time.
It is.
This is your first time for being part of the Enterprise Challenge. So, what innovations are you going to bring?
Well, I'm excited about being heavily involved. It's really cool to see the role that Nigeria plays in the African continent, and to see how much other countries like Uganda, like Rajan was saying, and are inspired by some of the progress that's being made. And one of the things I notice when it comes down to Nigerian business, and whether it be a product, a startup, a small to medium enterprise, is there's always two sales. You have to sell the fact that you have this amazing product or you have this amazing business, but then you also have to sell on a global arena that you're from Nigeria. To Rajan's point, where there's this public relations dilemma that has been created. But frankly, as somebody that spent his entire life working in public relations, it's not something that is for a public relations solution. The solution is action. In giving people the opportunity through things like the Enterprise Challenge is remarkable. You see, it's not, starting a business is amazing, but what is more important is having the opportunity to become an employer, to be able to make impact outside of your own business, outside of your own profit centers, in the communities that you live in. And through challenges like this, it inspires people to think outside the box and innovate and learn how to pivot and work with mentors around the world that have actually seeing challenges, because so many people spend their entire life celebrating their victories. It's easy to get excited every time something positive happens, but real success is built upon reacting to failures. And in every enterprise journey, in every startup journey, there are obstacles left and right. And it's enterprise challenges like this that prepare people for the real world, but not just prepare them in a theoretical way, actually put a pen to a check to the stage in people's hands to make a difference, because they work so hard to accomplish it in this challenge. So I would say, and I'm using the word inspired a lot today, Remy, and it's probably because that's just generally how I feel about all of this. And it takes a lot to inspire me. I get excited about many things, but to be inspired is an entirely different form of fuel. And not only that same effect that happens with me is the effect that this enterprise challenge has on the people of the country, the children who are going to be the leaders of the future, and more importantly, the continent in the eyes of the global arena. So I'm looking so forward to it, Remy, and I'm going to be as involved as I possibly can.
Okay, yeah, but before I let you go, please, can you quickly, for your final word and advice for Nigerian youths who are watching us now, with regards to the programs of the center and the enterprise challenge that is already ongoing. So can you say something before I let you go?
When it boils down to it, realize the world is watching, right? With such great leadership like Remy, that the messages and the people that are involved with things get spread all over the place. So when I'm looking in, and the number one thing that I look for in startup leaders and entrepreneurs is grit, the ability to take your life experiences, whether it be obstacles you faced in your life earlier, it could be something as a child, it could be something as a mother, it could be something as a citizen at work, it doesn't matter. Think about the obstacles you faced in your life, because in the skills that you've learned to overcome them are oftentimes the same skills that are needed to get through the entrepreneurial journey, to become that business owner, to become that employer, to become that leader of community. So when you're looking at challenges, think about them as opportunities, because many people face challenges. It's those that are willing to ask advice, that are willing to reach out, show up every day, show up early. Those are the ones that accomplish everything, because they eliminate their obstacles before they become problems. So I encourage all of you to take a moment every day and think about perspective. Think about where you're at today, because as a company, as a leader, you can never get to where you're going unless you know where you're at today. And you're in a great place in the Ugwumba Center. You're in a great place in this enterprise challenge. You're in a great place in modern Africa.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, let me call on Mr. Rajan to quickly, sum his contributions up with an advice to young people in Nigeria.
Absolutely. It's what Uche was mentioning earlier. So I've been lucky to work in over 65 countries around the world, and we've grown substantially along that lines. And there's one thing that the center went through a couple of years ago, and it's this idea of fear. And there's two ways to look at fear. One is forget everything and run, or you do exactly what Uche does, which is face everything and rise. And so therefore, my advice for those people who are turning up for the center and for the competition is, the first one is what Senator Rocha said: work with your passions. Don't work for money. Don't do things because you think it's going to give you the lifestyle of having a fast car, a big house, and everything else is on MTV. Because I can assure you, you'll come up to an existential crisis. It's really work with your passions and make sure that that is a fulfilling journey for you as an entrepreneur. The second part that I think people should know when they come up is that, look, this is your opportunities, your human experience on the back of this planet. We all need each other. And so therefore, solutions that impact a better world for all, that impacts a better society for all, are the ones that you should really be looking at. What are the big societal issues that you're addressing with your product or with your business? What are the big societal and planetary issues that people need to be aware of? Because you have to have an idea that can scale. What investors are looking for right now, and take it from advice, we've worked with a lot of big people across the globe. On average, our events would bring anywhere between 16 billion plus is what people are really looking for, is saying, well, actually, how can we make an impact? Not just on my bottom line as profits, but how do you make an impact? How do you make the world better for those future generations? And I think that's the thing that an entrepreneur should be asking themselves. The last part is enjoy it. You know, this is going to be one of the biggest parties that you ever be participating in. You can be amongst other entrepreneurs who are not only aggressive towards chasing their own dreams, but they will not pull you down over yours. That's a great place to be because you can learn a lot of things along those lines. So enjoy the process, ask the questions that you want to ask. I know there'll be a large range of us guys that will be there in Nigeria. You got some amazing investors turning up from right the way across the globe, people who have not only scaled businesses with grit and with their own hands, but they also know what failure tastes like as well. And so therefore you have this great opportunity to speak to them. And if they don't speak to you, let me know and I'll sort them out for you as well. So that's my pearls of wisdom for you guys. But above all, I think we have to appreciate the great vision that my dear brother Uche has, because from his own humble background, and it was incredibly humble, from those backgrounds to see where we're all now heading to is a great advocacy. And the reality is, if he can do it and he's showcasing it to you exactly how he's done it, well, there's no excuses for the rest of us. I suppose it keeps us at the board very much on our toes because we know he's constantly watching as a guidance there. But for those people entering the competition, you got a great book that he wrote. So my other thing is pick up that book. It's free. It's on Amazon. So have a good read of that, because that way you learn exactly what his tools were, but also you get to build a better Africa for all. And echoing the words that everyone's mentioned, we need it. We are on the precipice. We're on the edge of social decay. We don't realize it yet. There's some real challenges happening at a global level. This is why what the center does is so important, because it readdresses the big inequalities that the globe's facing. But you know what? It provides a future for us all that we can work hand in hand and make a real sustainable difference.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Your Excellency, I think it's your turn to say your final word before we call it a day on the show today. This is 1 hour, 8 minutes. We've been talking about the impacts of the Center for Leadership Development in Africa, and we've not had time to look at what people are saying. So, but that's by the way. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear from the visionary and the president and founder of the Ugwumba Center for Leadership Development in Africa. Thank you so much, sir. Check your mic. Check. Hello, sir. Can you check your mic? Can you check your mic? Unmute yourself. Check your mic. Okay, while we wait for him to do that, please, if you've not applied for the 5th edition of the Ugwumba Enterprise Challenge, I want you to go to https /bit.ly 2022 bit.ly/apply UEC 2022. Please, that is where you go to apply for the Enterprise Challenge so that you can stand a chance to win any of our fantastic star prizes. So quickly go to www.bit.ly/apply UEC 2022. That is a great way to becoming of the big entrepreneurs that we have in Nigeria and Africa. I think His Excellency has issue. Okay. Okay, he's back. Let me bring him back so that he can say the last word before we go. Okay, Your Excellency, sorry, I think you had an issue there. We can't hear you. Check your microphone.
Can you hear me now?
Good, good. Yes, fantastic.
Okay, earlier on I was saying what I expected from the 2022 enterprise. I expect one of the products from the winners sold outside these continents, just like Blekisu, whose product after the 2020, the young lady Blekisu, one of her products is being sold in the United States. And we have another young lady too that just won the last year enterprise challenge sold in United States. So one of the greatest joy that I'm going to have is to see a young African person whose products after the enterprise challenge will be sold outside. That makes me happy. That shows that we have not only impacted that person, but business otherwise, we have made that person to grow in his. And this is what I expect from the 2022 Enterprise Challenge. Secondly, it's not only about coming to pitch and coming to have Enterprise Challenge and go home. The Enterprise Challenge, and after the pitching, they should acquire more knowledge. So you are not able to win. We are sure that the knowledge you acquire during this will help you in managing your businesses when you finally start up a business. Another thing that I want to expect some of these young people to acquire during this enterprise challenge. I want them to make contacts. You know, when it comes to some of these meetings, most often time young people think that they just go. We, like my friend Rajan has said, that some people are coming. We have some people coming from UK, and if we're able to bring some of our friends, you have to make sure you have contact. I expect some of these young people to make the time during this enterprise challenge. Like that, you're able to share ideas. You have people you can call, even though if you cannot reach me, if you cannot reach me, you have people who can, and who knows, probably those ideas might be what the other person is looking for. It you are made. So the 2022 enterprise challenge is going to be a different enterprise challenge we have been going through. We expect that by the end of the we might have impacted more African youth. Expect that by 2023 we shall have a good result from them they have been able to do from what they got from the 2022 Enterprise Challenge. And we want to also encourage as many young people as they can to apply. We have stepped up the award from being only young people to women. This year we're expecting to have up to benefit from our enterprise challenge. These women are women wedding. There are women who need as very small to start up their businesses. So we are going to also help them to start up business, so that by we shall visit them and see how far they have gone with their businesses. All we do is to make a society free of crime and free of that we can contribute our quota to the society and put smiles and have people in Africa and across Africa. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure this is really interesting, and it's been really wonderful listening to my boss and the other global leaders that we have gathered to speak to you this afternoon. And I hear this is where we're going to call it a day, because it's been really amazing. 1 hour, 10 minutes we've been on the show talking. Thank you so much, Mr. Raja Nazran, our advisory chairman in the UK. He's there in the UK, you know, the organization. Thank you, Mr. Chris. Mr. Chris, I call him Chief Chris. Chief Chris. Chief Chris, very we are going to honor you with that a chieftaincy title. You know, Chief Chris is the managing director of Responsible Solutions at the Silicon Valley in the US, and also entrepreneur in residence for Founder Institute. And then to my boss, His Excellency Ugwumba Uche Nwosu, I want to thank you for finding time to join us on the show this afternoon. And then to all our fans, our followers, beneficiaries, Ugwumba women, Ugwumba fellows, Ugwumba partners who joined us online on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter. We appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for being part of this history, and I'm sure that the stream is still there online for more people to join and to also to share with what we have done today. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you all. God bless you. Thank you so much.